Miss Marvel trailer breakdown, Easter eggs and details you missed. This is from the new Rockstar's official channel and it's what we're gonna be reacting to today. What's up people, I'm Riyansh, you're watching Ray Reacts. If you haven't seen my reaction for the Miss Marvel trailer yet, then be sure to go check that out after this. And yeah, without wasting any time, let's just get into it.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of the trailer for Miss Marvel, introducing Kamala Khan as the new MCU hero taken directly from my high school years.
Another Avengers shirt. Cute.
Not today, Mephisto. I am really digging the vibes of this series, and its trailer is filled with subtle clues for what could really be going on here.
And I probably didn't catch any of it.
Let's go.
Copyright music.
Okay, so first off, I just want to say, I get it.
You get what?
We open with Kamala's diary, in which she doodles this pig flying into space as she wishes she could be among the stars and one day will be. This might actually be her stuffed animal that we see later on her bed. Coming from a devout Muslim family, she's not supposed to eat pork, but as we saw in the comics, she still loves to smell bacon, calling it delicious, delicious infidel meat. First introduced in the 2013 Captain Marvel comics fanverse, but with the powers to embiggen her limbs until she realized she could just be herself and maintain that stretchy ability in her own form and appearance. Now, Terrigenesis is actually the process by which Inhumans are formed, as we saw with Quake in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but the
I haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
versus Man-Ant with Scott Lang having some fleshy human limbs on that segmented body. Sexiest ant alive. There's also a note for driving lesson today, an essay due on the 19th, scratch that, the 16th, and a reminder to include references and quotes, and a drawing of herself calling this all boring. I also like the little glimpse of Kamala's fashion with her index fingernail painted a different color. Then we move past a world history textbook showing ancient Egypt on the cover, a corner of the world that will be explored even sooner on Moon Knight. And then we glide into
I have a reaction for that too.
Escapism in the form of her drawings, the Marvel Studios title card within her comic bookie sketched out thought bubble. And then the frame itself condenses into a hand-drawn version of that, depicting how Kamala sees her whole world through the filter of her own imagination. Now, covering footage with animated sound effect words, action lines, word bubbles, which you'll notice spill out from beyond that frame, is the kind of aesthetic that we saw in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And now to see it in the MCU like this is a really vibrant choice that not only takes us inside Kamala's mind, but hints at the way her physical powers are actually manifested from her wish fulfillment. Like Wanda Maximoff, her inner world becomes everyone else's physical reality. Now, Kamala's guidance counselor is Mr. Wilson. His name is likely a nod to G. Willow Wilson, who wrote these Miss Marvel comics, and is also referenced in that desk divider being labeled GWW. His office is filled with motivational posters like that classic, "Hang in there, kitty," and then on the door, "You can totally do this." He's also got tissues on his desk for students who come in crying or leave crying. Because as we saw in No Way Home, getting into the right college can be a pretty stressful thing. Now, this might just be me, but the way Kamala writes her lowercase g's in her word bubbles is just interesting. Circles connected by a straight line? I don't know, I've never seen g's written this way, but I also don't know how those Gen Zers are doing it these days. But to me, this at least looks like the middle portion of the Pym Tech logo, circles connected by lines. Could just be another example of how Kamala is really into Ant-Man, as we saw in her diary, and specifically—
Alright. People do write G's like that. It's not an uncommon thing. It's a style choice mostly, but people do write G's like that. Just pointing it out.
Ant-Man's Pym Tech enabled ability to embiggen. Moving on.
High school.
Kamala. Another Avengers shirt. Cute. She thinks I'm some kind of weirdo.
It was an awesome trailer. Just watching it again is awesome.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
You're kind of on my shirt.
Sorry.
Okay, we get this really cool shot of the clock rotating counterclockwise as we anchor on the minute hand, flying through the day. Much like Peter Parker in the opening sequence of Spider-Man Homecoming, Kamala Khan just spends her whole school day staring at the clock, waiting for it to end. Behind her is a poster reading, "Vote Dustin for Prez. He's a very good choice." Dustin Barry was actually the set decorator / set buyer for this series, along with Ant-Man and another Ant-Man starring movie, Civil War. But look at you made yourself MCU canon, Dustin Barry. You go, Dustin Barry. The girl Zoe Zimmer deliberately mispronounces Kamala and disses her shirt. Zoe's actually from the Miss Marvel comics. Popular girl who's really good friends, especially with Zoe even developing a crush on Kamala's Turkish-American friend, Nakia Bahadir, seen here alongside Bruno Corelli. Kamala sees Zoe with devil horns, and I just gotta say, between this and the devil horns in No Way Home, at this point, it honestly feels like
it's gonna be a Mephisto plug, right?
Stand beside this Captain Marvel cosplay outfit with a looks like a paper mache mask. I think Kamala made this. Now, Bruno actually works at this location in the comics. Kamala uses it as her unofficial headquarters. Cameron was actually hit with that same Terrigen mist that gave Kamala her powers.
Interesting.
Cameron to develop an ability where he emits a bluish energy from his body and then channels electrical energy into objects that cause him to glow and explode. He was later recruited by the villain Lineage, framing him here with that blue-tinted steam over the pool could be a nod to his Terrigen Mist origins and his power.
Wait, so is he gonna be like a semi-antagonist or like an antagonist character in the show? Because we didn't get a hint at any kind of villain here. The trailer was just about Kamala figuring out her powers. So if that even remotely connects to a villain-like character, then we're at least gonna see him turn into the villain in the post-credit scene of the show or whatever, I'm assuming, but let's see.
Scarf into this beautiful bun, and as they stare at Cameron, notice poor Bruno off to the side, clearly feeling inadequate. No one talks about Bruno, no.
That's an Encanto reference.
Future Hetty and making YouTube videos for some Lin-Manuel tracks to make the viewers cringe. Also, why am I advising a fictional character? Next clip.
But you're staring out the window in your little fantasy land.
That was a nice shot, I loved it.
Kamala, hey, already? Really? Come on, like...
Do I have to figure out my whole future before lunch, or is there like...
Okay, we get this great Euphoria-style shot swooping in on Kamala with the classroom projector light beaming around her right as we hear the Weeknd's blinding lights. Her head is totally casting a shadow on that screen, by the way. This is actually the same kind of lighting and framing used in WandaVision to introduce that Skrull who introduced Monica Rambeau in the movie theater projector light. And I do think we will see some Skrulls appear in this Ms. Marvel series to set up the Secret Invasion series. Then the frame cuts back into that hand-drawn
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Miss Marvel is based off of Captain Marvel. I mean, not based off of, but closely related. And Skrulls are obviously a huge part of Captain Marvel's storyline. So it makes sense that they would have some kind of a reference to Skrulls. I don't know it'll be as blatant as Skrulls actually showing up. But they're probably going to talk about it, or there's going to be some exposition, something like that, I'm pretty sure.
Of Kamala's imagination, showing her fantasy suited up in the Captain Marvel outfit, but the one from the beginning of Endgame, the red on top, not the blue topped one that Carol changed into in the final battle and wore in that Shang-Chi post-credit scene. So this fantasy is specifically the Captain Marvel who saved Iron Man. And she strikes a classic Black Widow superhero pose. Nice. Okay, Kamala and Bruno sit on the roof of this building. That neon sign from the other side actually reads Madison. That first letter is an M there. But beneath their feet is a poster or a painting that I think reads Iron Man there.
Yeah.
So
in fact, it kind of looks like a comic book cover from one of the Iron Man issues. I forgot which one, but it kind of looked like a really old 60s comic book cover. That's just something I noticed.
The iconography of Iron Man, it reminds us how he's dead. And again with this theme, there's just lots of mist in this trailer for a story that seemingly won't use Terrigen Mist to give Kamala Khan her powers. Who knows? Terrigen Mist may be behind all of this. We see some shots of Kamala and her family praying at their mosque, and then Kamala and Bruno at this display of a sparkly Captain Marvel costume.
Maybe like a museum or something, right? That's what I thought.
Avengers looks like some kind of expo or convention, which might be like that A-Day celebration in the Avengers game that Kamala attends in San Francisco, where a terrorist attack overloads.
I have not played the game.
Powering that helicarrier that ends up releasing a mist that ends up giving Kamala her powers. You'll notice Kamala also wears a Captain Marvel patch on her jacket. The later shot of her on her bike shows this is a green canvas jacket, much like Carol Danvers' flight suit, and it even has that same Air Force test pilot patch on the sleeve. Kamala's mother, Muniba Khan, criticizes her costume. That may lead Kamala to defying her parents to attend that convention to show off her cosplay. Really how she gets into all that trouble. Moving on. Okay, interesting shots here of Kamala snooping around an attic with a flashlight where she finds his chest filled with files and in which she finds these bracelets.
I didn't notice it.
When Kamala snaps them on, and you'll notice they have this star-burst icon on the cuff, similar to the astral iconography of the Kree that Captain Marvel.
That's the obvious
logo. Now in the reaction, I wondered if these could be the nega bands from the Captain Marvel comics given to Captain Marvel by the Kree Supreme Intelligence that ends up really trapping Captain Marvel in the negative zone. Should be a really cool.
How does he immediately relate to this stuff? I mean, I understand if you have like a team of like 8 people who are like extreme comic book nerds. They're there, they go through the comic books, they try to find connections, they try to remember what they've read before. But to immediately connect to that, he said in the reaction that he made, which means that he instantly thought of that. That just tells how Erik Voss is just next level overthinker. I can't imagine what it must be like for him to see a normal movie and not have to break it down. To do a job like this definitely must affect your movie going experience. You probably can enjoy it to the fullest, but oh well, I guess.
Way to bring in the Fantastic Four potentially into the MCU, but based on the powers they give Kamala Khan, they could also be Quasar's quantum bands, which have similar energy projection powers. I'll just say that the design on the cuffs suggests that these come from some kind of alien race, extraterrestrial origin. Personally, I'm getting more Kree vibes. We don't know whose attic this is or...
I'm gonna be a little more interesting with my connection to it. I think it's like Shang-Chi's rings. And hear me out. Those two appear to be alien technology, but they look kind of ancient, They're also, worn on the wrist a lot of the times. And they also give you really interesting powers. But I guess as long as another trailer doesn't come out, it's just anybody's guess, right?
Kamala came up here, but nearby are some lab coats and some lab equipment and a few dollhouse miniatures. One could see more parallels with Hank Pym, who has a history of shrinking down buildings to miniature size, or even with Howard Stark, who had a miniature Stark Expo in his home. But my theory is that this attic could belong to someone in Kamala's community who might be revealed as a Skrull in hiding. Remember, the Skrull Talos, posing as Nick Fury in Spider-Man Far From Home, hinted at a Skrull Kree shadow war currently being waged.
I thought Kree having sleeper cells was top secret information.
These bracelets could have been Kree weapons of mass destruction stolen and hidden by a Skrull on Earth, and then accidentally discovered by Kamala, thinking they were just cool additions to her cosplay, but then they accidentally power her up into a Kree-powered superhero like her hero, Captain Marvel, which would be what draws Kamala into the Kree-Skrull conflict that Monica Rambeau is now joining the Skrull faction of, based off that WandaVision post-credit scene, which would explain how...
Wow, he just tied everything together, from Captain Marvel to WandaVision post-credit scene to Miss Marvel, just in a nice little bow. If he could make such a neat connection, probably is what's gonna happen. Erik Voss isn't right all the time, but he's right most of the time. So it's like a good probability that this is exactly what's going to happen. And if it is, I'm super excited for it. Like I said before, to see that journey of becoming a superhero tie into a major Marvel project like Secret Invasions, The Marvels, which is going to be a movie that's probably coming out next year, which has Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel in it. Yeah, just awesome to think that Erik Voss can just tie all these storylines together.
But then she falls through the floor into a kind of sunken place, it looks like, but she ends up right side up, surrounded by a new crowd of figures. Who are these people? Are they just a mere reflection of the cosplayers, or are they someone else? Remember, Kree technology is neurally infused. The Supreme Intelligence takes a different form to whomever sees it, and Carol Danvers' infusion through the Kree Tahiti process left her with false memories. So if these bracelets, these cuffs are Kree tech, Kamala, in this moment, could be mentally projected into the memories of the Kree warrior who last wore these. These others in this purpley realm could be past Kree on the planet Hala. And then Kamala could come out of that state with those Kree powers manifesting her own inner desires, the way the Kree Supreme Intelligence, in a way, reflects
I like that idea.
desire. And of course, these vibrant colors and energy waves definitely match the visuals we saw for Carol Danvers' power-up and Monica Rambeau passing through that radiation wall of Westview to become Photon, all three women empowered with the same kind of cosmic radiation. Her brother Amir and her father Yusuf check in on her. Her room is actually filled with Captain Marvel posters, and by the door, more art of that pig, now a unicorn. Actually, over Kamala's bed is a poster of Captain Marvel showing a specific comic. This is Jerry Dodson's cover of Earth's Mightiest Hero #5. And then Kamala looks at her glowing hands. This place with green walls and weapons in a case? I think this actually might be part of a trip Kamala takes to visit relatives in Pakistan, which would be where she meets the vigilante Red Dagger, Kareem. All part of a process, perhaps, to train Kamala to be more of a hero.
Alright, it's a 6-episode show, and the way he's describing it, it's gonna be a huge story, just connecting it with the Kree warrior who last wore it, and connecting it with her taking a trip to meet the Red Dagger. It doesn't really make sense to have that much of a story in 6 episodes. I don't really believe it can be as extravagant as Erik Voss is explaining. Just my thoughts.
But actually, if you look closely at her last jump here, her arms and legs are totally stretching. This isn't like a Green Lantern energy covering her limbs. It's inside of her, stretching her body out. Moving on. Misty shot in an alley with these 4 mystery figures. There's a woman, a man, another woman, and another man. Now, I wonder if this group could actually be those Kree sleeper cell agents coming back to reclaim the cuffs, or maybe some Skrull agents coming to recruit her. But actually, you can see that woman on the far left appearing in the background behind Kamala in the wedding venue. So this group is going to be an ongoing threat that goes after the Khan family, one that she has to take on in the middle of a relative's wedding. And then Kamala and the Vigilante, Red Dagger, Kareem fight, or maybe just
okay, so Red Dagger is in the trailer, which suggests that, like I said, it's gonna be a Lamentus 1 situation where they go on a trip for like 1 episode. She attends whatever wedding Erik Voss is talking about. She talks to that elder woman who's maybe a Skrull, and she talks to Red Dagger and all of that. That's probably how it's gonna work out, but I guess again we'll have to see. We can't plot out the entire storyline just through like a 3-minute trailer, right?
I'm a superhero.
It's an awesome show.
Okay, after the title, our final shot shows Kamala sitting on that streetlight looking out at Manhattan, perfectly recreating of the cover of Miss Marvel #5. But I just love how this compares to that earlier shot of her with her bike, staring out at the city with a sense of longing to be part of something bigger. But now, even after becoming a true superhero,
I just wanted to point out that this building over here, if you guys can see it, kind of looks like the Oscar building from the Amazing Spider-Man series. That's just something I thought. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, this building kind of looks like it too. So maybe it's just a style choice. But on my mind, immediately went to Oscar when I saw that.
even after becoming a true superhero, she doesn't leave Jersey City for Manhattan. She stays. This is still her home. She's just looking at the city from a higher vantage point, like more of a guardian protecting her turf from any threats from the big bad city.
New York has enough superheroes. So.
Super excited for this series, and of course, New Rockstars is definitely going to be covering it when it drops on June 8th.
Alright, that was a great video. Erik Voss went into some really deep stuff. He almost plotted out the entire storyline of the show just from like a 2-3 minute trailer, which is like what he does. So I'm really happy that he did it. I'm definitely going to be checking out his breakdown for the Moon Knight series as well. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you know when that comes out, and also be sure to like this video, and there's going to be a link in the description for the original video that I'm watching. Be sure to go over there to subscribe to New Rockstars. They put out some really amazing stuff. And yeah, let's just see you in the next one.